Hi, this is Ingrid Auer. I'm from Austria, from Europe, and I love to work with women. I love to support them, to work with them in different countries of the world. And today I would like to introduce you to a very nice and special woman. She's from Great Britain and her name is Fiona Price. Hi, Fiona. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Ingrid. How are you?
Me too. I'm happy to have you as my guest. And I'm sure you can tell us a lot of your life and you can give us some of your experiences and impulses uh, for daily life because originally you have started a business career, but later you found your true life passion or your life purpose in a totally different way or different area. What about this?
Well, I've always been passionate about everything that I've done in life, and when I look back, I have always been fulfilling my purpose at that moment in time because to me, so now I'm just experiencing a whole different dimension of myself. But when I look back, I would say that, what is purpose? I remember when I was younger, I was constantly looking, what is my purpose? What is my mission in life? What am I meant to be doing? And it was such a sort of challenge. And everyone I talked to that was like-minded was asking the same question. And now I look back and I say, do you know what? Your purpose is the thing that you are best able to do to the best of your ability at any moment in time. And it changes throughout your life based on where you are in your journey, the experiences you're having, and so on and so forth. But what is very important to me is to be passionate about what you do. And when you go through life, you have ups and downs, you have a discovery of things that you like, things that you don't like, and especially when you start off, there are a lot of things that you don't like. And so it's a question of constantly changing the balance. Balance, by definition, is something that moves. You need to change it the whole time to stay in that sweet spot, to stay passionate about what you're doing. And so this is the process of discovery in life through whatever it is that you do. And most of us will do several things in the course of our life.
Yeah. Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And I think also the detours in our life are the most important or very important learning processes. And when you say the purpose of life, I think our soul originally comes with the life purpose, but to find it out or um, to get to know the purpose of our soul or the way our soul wants to get us through our life, this we don't always know from beginning of our life. It also took me, I think, 40 years to find out what I'm doing now. And I do it with passion, as you mentioned, and I like it as you said, do your life with passion, live your life with passion, even if there are ups and downs. So you have tried a lot of different things that made you to this lady or person or woman you're now. You have been working in business, but you also told me that sport has been an important role in your life. You have been in competition on an international level. What did you learn from this part of your life or this time of your life?
A tremendous amount. I've always learned a tremendous amount through everything that I've done because my aspiration is always to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. And that is a lifelong journey. You'll never get to the end of that because it's infinite. So whether it's business or whether it's sport, the quest has always been to be the best and to learn and to develop wisdom and to inspire other people. I mean, my life's purpose is to inspire other people. That is my modus operandi. I am a communicator at the end of the day. So everything, the sport, the business, sort of melds into my particular brand of wisdom and life. But to answer your question specifically about the sport, it's been amazing. I've competed 2 sports at international level, and so obviously, you know, I've learned I'm tough. I'm very, very tough. I can commit, I have stamina, I have endurance, and so on. But I've also learned an awful lot. It's been a catalyst to learn about nutrition and hydration and health, and to understand that you know, the easiest thing that you can control with regard to your health is what you put into your body. And then the next thing you can control um, is how you invoke good health, is your aspiration for longevity, for youth, for health and vitality, to be illness free. So that is a mental or a spiritual aspect. What you put in your mouth is a physical aspect. And so in a way, that's helped me to understand a lot about myself through the demands that extreme physical endurance places upon the body. But to go back to my business, because you did ask me about my business, and I'd like to talk about that. And it's sort of interesting how things in your life, circumstances at the time, pincer you into a place where you can then find passion about something and express it. So when I started out, I did a psychology degree and then an MBA, and I found that I came out of business school with my MBA being virtually math phobic. I thought I was the only graduate in the universe that couldn't read a balance sheet. And then by some quirk of fate, found myself in the financial sector, which was a bit of a shock. But I also found that it was done very badly. It was a very exciting place to be in the early 80s, but there was a lot of mis-selling, there was a lot of abuse, and I really didn't like it at all. And at the same time, women's networks were just starting to get off the ground. It was a very exciting time in that area as well. And because the financial world was so male, I went off looking for a female peer group. And I joined women in everything that was going, in management, in property, in business. Oh, loads, maybe 20 different networks. And I set up one of my own also for women in the financial sector. And I soon realized that many women, like me, were not good with numbers. They didn't consider themselves to be math savvy, to be that numerate. And so I found a role for myself in the financial world, which was creating a financial service that was jargon free and that was empowering, especially for women, to help give women financial independence. And that was 30 years ago. And when I look back now to see the relevance, to see, well, was I fulfilling a purpose at that time? Oh, yes, because we all know, and through the work that you do, that it's really important that women become more prominent, and that women's influence and women's energy is right out there in the world that we live in. So that was very interesting, that I was sort of in that spot 30 years ago, and in an important area of women's lives, which was money and finance. So that was interesting. I did that for nearly 20 years and grew a business that had about 30 staff in the end from absolutely nothing. So it was full of challenges, it was full of trials and tribulations. But I suppose I burnt myself out, and I was then ready to start my process of withdrawal to the current time where I live on my own, completely in the wild, and you know, a very, very different time.
So one leads to another in our life. We have to trust, we have to be open, we have to be guided, or we have to be aware that we have a spiritual guide, a spiritual guidance, and not always thinking and planning and focusing what our mind was, what our intellect wants to tell us. Sometimes I think it's a little bit a balance, because our mind is very strong and sometimes a little bit louder than our heart. But I think if we are really balanced, or if we are rethinking of our life, if we can feel our life, the flow of our life, life will lead us to those places, to those people who are important for us, or for who we are important. So yes, I like your philosophy, and I like your energy, and therefore I would like to ask you, what's about spirituality in your life, or what do you think, how important is spirituality in the life of a modern woman, of a modern businesswoman, of a modern successful woman? What place does it take?
it's everything, really. And my first encounter with anything spiritual was at the age of 17, oddly enough, in a desert in Australia. And I think because the life I chose was so full on, was so fraught with challenge, was so full of people, was so out there, I needed something that helped me make sense, something that gave me a bigger picture, because it couldn't that couldn't have been all that there was. It was just too hard. So really, my quest for understanding, for having a spiritual life as well, was about making sense of the madness of my own existence. And that journey took me initially to simply trying all the different therapies that were available. I had nothing wrong with me, but I wanted to know, what did homeopathy do? What did acupuncture do? What did kinesiology do? And that sort of helped me create a toolkit that I've used for most of my life, on the one hand. I also then decided to study something called radionics, which is a form of energy healing. It's a form of numerology turned into energy. And that then was the most wonderful thing, because I've used that on myself, my family, my friends, my animals, all of my life. But it also taught me to dowse, because the whole methodology is based on dowsing. And that has been a lifelong tool which links straight into your intuition. So it bypasses your intellect and it goes into your intuition, and it's on the end of a bit of string. In fact, I've probably got one on my desk, which, because I have them in most places, which is there. So that was sort of one aspect, or several aspects. But, you know, just as I say, going back to understanding the bigger picture, why are we here? What is it we're meant to be doing? Where did we come from? How do we live long lives? I mean, from the age of, again, early 20s, I thought, we don't just live lives of 60, 70, 80 years. I know instinctively we are designed to live lives of hundreds of years. And so from that early age, I was saying to myself, I'm going to live a long time. I'm going to be health free. And I didn't have any particular reference at that point. It was just an instinct that there had to be more. And then the whole sort of challenge of, how do you talk to the cells of your body? You know, I injured myself doing the sports I did, and just journeying in life. I didn't do illness, but I did injuries. And so this gave me a constant a chance to talk to the cells of my body and fix an amputated finger, for instance. This came off completely over the knuckle, and I had to, you know, to immediately sort of visualize the clotting of blood, the being anaesthetized, and the healing of it once it was sewn back on, and so on. So I've always had this opportunity and this outlook that I have control over my body. And if we then extrapolate that to what you were saying about instinct and intellect, our whole education system is geared towards intellect. Our instinct is squashed from a very early age. And so the lifelong challenge, if we're lucky, if we get that far, is to understand how to reconnect with our instinct. Because our instinct is our best guidance mechanism. You should always use your heart and your instinct first, and then your intellect to work out the detail afterwards, not the other way around. So, and that philosophy then helps with the dealing of the challenges in life, because the challenges and a constant process of change is frightening. You know, and once I realized why was it always something that was difficult, it was because it was frightening, because you were going into the unknown and you didn't know where that was going to take you. So again, once you start to understand through your own experience, because nobody can just tell you it, you have to know it and feel it. I felt I had a helping hand. I felt I wasn't alone. I felt there was something benevolent out there. I felt that it would always be okay and better than it currently was. There was a place I could go that was sort of in my control, because I took responsibility for creating my own life. So, you know, I could go on, but how is spirituality important? It's the fiber and the fabric that holds everything else together for me, and that makes things make sense.
I like what you say, and I totally agree, because you tell me parts of my own life. And I like the word also responsibility and self-responsibility, because we always have to be self-responsible if you want to live our active life, if you want to be guided and open up all the doors in our life. So I want to ask you another question, because we see the horse in the backside of you. You live with horses, you live with animals, you live, I think, in the countryside. Why is it so important for us in those days or in this time to reconnect with nature?
Well, it's hugely important, and in a way, it's a phase that it's a new phase for me, because although I've lived a lot of my life outdoors, I've always had horses and I've competed with horses and I've done other sports as well, which are outside. It's made me realize that you can be outside and still not connect with nature. You can be in the middle of it and not really notice it because you're so focused on what you're doing. And I was drawn to this place. I've never been to this part of the world before. It's very remote. The weather is vicious and it varies all of the time. It's wonderful when it's wonderful, but oh my God, it's terrible when it's terrible. And I'm here on my own. I have 10 acres that I look after myself, and I have 2 horses at the moment, and I have 8 or 9 feral cats. And it's spectacularly beautiful countryside. And I've realized that it's made me more aware of the fact that we are connected to everything. We're connected to everyone, and we are connected to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're connected through our DNA even to Gaia and to the stars. And so it's because in my situation, this is omnipresent. It's made me really focus on it. It's made me really recognize that connection, be in that connection, and to understand that everything is intelligent, all life is intelligent. I talk to the weather. I know that sounds bizarre, but I talk to the weather and I ask it just over my little spot to please be kind to me. It can kick off and it can be horrid, but just keep me safe and only give me what I need in terms of the weather. And invariably, I'm going to ride, for instance, on a day, and it is horrible. It's horizontal rain, or it's snow, or it's whatever. And I can ask my pension, and what time should I ride? 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, the weather is good enough to get on the and ride.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning and I'm understanding that we are connected to absolutely everything, and that we have a dialogue with it, because all life is intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not suggesting everyone needs to go feral in a way, as I have, but I do think it's really important that all of us in our own lives have that awareness of the connection with other things, with other people and with other things.
Mm-hmm.
And not to sort of live a life of checklists. There's an awful lot of self-help that is points 1 to 10, how to deal with stress, how to eat well, how to do this, how to do that. Well, it's useful to a point. It's all information.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the true connection, the most powerful connection, is the connection with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And to have connection with your instinct and have connection with all that there is around you, because it's all one and the same thing.
Yeah.
There's too much to say about it, but
Yeah.
that's in a nutshell.
There are many people who have disconnected or lost their connection with themselves, with their higher self, probably also with, maybe, let's speak it out, with guardian angels or angels, with nature beings, with the fairies when they are out in nature. Do we have short advice how they can reconnect?
Well, I think in the first instance, it's being more in the moment. It's noticing. It's being aware. It's being aware of you. In the first instance, you have to be aware of yourself. In order to change anything about you, whether it's a habit you don't like, whether it's an attitude, whatever, you have to become aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change anything if you're not aware of it. So in the first instance, being aware of how you feel moment to moment in relation to different things that you like that make you feel good, things that you don't like that make you feel a bit tight in your stomach. So understanding your own feelings, your own body, and if you understand what that feeling is, you can recognize something's not right, you can change your thought, you can change the feeling. So at a very basic level, you start to control yourself and change yourself through being aware of yourself. I think that has to come first before you can reconnect with other things, because it's all part of the same continuum. being here for me, if the sun shines, I stop and notice it. I mean, I sort of live a life of perpetual motion, but in the odd moment the sun shines, I just stand there and say, oh, fill me up, heal me, fill the cells of my body, balance me. Thank you for being there. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, it doesn't matter. But in the past, I probably wouldn't have noticed the sun was shining. I'd have been busy going from point A to point B, or leading a horse, or doing something. Likewise, noticing the birds flying over, and seeing the garden, having a coffee and thinking, yeah, this way, come, I would like to see you, come nearer, fly over nearer. So you just have that wider perception, that wider in your vision and in your sense, which starts you on the process of noticing things around you, and then you can start to connect.
Yeah. Wonderful to be aware and to be connected with nature, with everything around you, but to start with yourself, to be aware of yourself, to feel yourself, because I think many people can't even feel themselves. So Fiona, is there any last message you would like to share, especially with women?
Oh, so much. I think that one of the most important things is be authentic, be who you really are, discover who you really are, and be more of it, and more of it, and more of it, and the absolute best version of it that you can possibly be. And because we're fallible human beings, we're mere mortals, we fail a lot of the time with this. This is constant 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so you have to, at the same time, learn the art of picking yourself up off the ground, you know, and going again. And one of the important things in that regard is to know that only you can do that. You know, you can choose to wallow in it for an hour, a day, a week, a year, but it won't go away unless you choose for it to go away and say, right, it stops now, and the only way from here is up. So I think that that's terribly important, that one learns the art of picking yourself up quicker, wallowing in it for less time, because you only hurt yourself in the end by doing that. So the overriding message would be to be authentic, to be who you are, be more of who you are, and be the absolute best version of who you can be.
Thank you so much. I would like to meet you one day in person. Maybe we will manage it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fiona. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you.